Indawa bala matwamane giya mama inguru soya daya obege daragiya.
According to the U.S. State Department Minister of External Affairs, Professor Peiris is to meet U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in Washington on the 18th of May. Ranganahera dishes out an impressive performance for Sri Lanka by bagging 6 wickets against England in the first test in Galle. And on Entertainment First, we feature another top 3 finalist of Yes Superstar Season 2. All these and more on News First tonight.
A very good evening and welcome to Tuesday night's edition of Primetime News on MTV Sports. I'm Ravi Gamage.
A very good evening. I'm Mahina Bongzo. As usual, we take a look at the stories making headlines tonight.
Police instructed to inform court about the whereabouts of parliamentarian Duminda Silva. The US State Department says Professor Peiris will pay the visit to the US in May. Land in the Muthrajavela sanctuary blocked out. And England restricted to 193 in their first innings against a disciplined Sri Lankan bowling attack.
Moving on to the stories in detail now. Colombo Additional Magistrate Prasanna Dialvis ordered the police to inform court about the whereabouts of parliamentarian Duminda Silva and the reasons for the failure to arrest him at the next court hearing. This order was given when the case pertaining to the assassination of 4 people, including former parliamentarian Bharata Lakshman Premachandra, was taken up for hearing today. Suspects in connection with the murder of 4 persons, including former parliamentarian Bharata Lakshman Premachandra, were produced before Colombo Additional Magistrate Prasanna Alvis this morning. Appearing on behalf of the family of the late Bharata Lakshman Premachandra, President's Counsel Tirantha Valaliyadda pointed out that the CID has failed to take any measures to arrest parliamentarian Duminda Silva. Inspector of Police Meril Ranjit in reply stated that the CID acts according to procedure and that necessary steps will be taken in accordance with the instructions of the Attorney General. Meanwhile, President's Counsel Tirantha Valaliyadda requested court to issue an international warrant for the arrest of MP Duminda Silva. In response, Colombo Additional Magistrate Prasanna Dialvis stated that such an order can be issued only if the police informs court that MP Duminda Silva cannot be arrested.
The magistrate said that a warrant will be issued only if the police says they cannot arrest the suspect. I made such a request because they are trying to cover up the matter. I requested an arrest warrant to be issued through Interpol. I think this request will be considered at the next court hearing.
The case will be taken up for hearing once again on the 4th of April. The magistrate questioned the police as to whether they can arrest Duminda Silva or not. The police was ordered to inform courts about his whereabouts next week and whether he can be arrested or not.
The US State Department says that Sri Lanka's Minister of External Affairs, Professor Peiris, will meet US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton at the State Department on the 18th of May. Spokesperson of the US State Department, Victoria Newland, revealed this in response to a question raised by a journalist at the Daily Press Briefing in Washington, D.C. yesterday.
US State Department spokesperson Victoria Newland also said that the US hopes Sri Lanka will take necessary action to ensure accountability and reconciliation in the country. Meanwhile, at a media briefing held yesterday, Minister of External Affairs Professor Peiris expressed these views regarding his upcoming visit to Washington. When I go to Washington, I will submit the same arguments we put forward to India and to Geneva to Hillary Clinton as well. We will not change this based on the country.
US President Barack Obama has nominated the Assistant Chief of Mission for Law Enforcement and Rule of Law Assistance in Baghdad, Iraq, Michelle J. Sisson, as the new US Ambassador to Sri Lanka. According to the Office of the Press Secretary of the White House, Obama made several other nominations to key positions in his administration. Let's now take a brief look at Ambassador-designate Michelle J. Sisson's career.
A career officer of the U.S. Senior Foreign Service with the rank of Minister Counselor, Michelle J. Sisson served as the U.S. Ambassador to the Republic of Lebanon from 2008 to 2010 prior to her posting in Iraq. She also served as the U.S. Ambassador to the United Arab Emirates from 2004 to 2008 and prior to that was the Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Bureau of South Asian Affairs from 2002 to 2004. Sisson's prior assignments include Deputy Chief of Mission at the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, Pakistan, U.S. Consul General in Chennai, India, U.S. Consul General in Douala, Cameroon, and Director of Career Development and Assignments in the U.S. State Department's Bureau of Human Resources.
Former Army Commander Sarath Fonseka was brought to a private hospital in Colombo today. This was to obtain specialized medical treatment. Wife of the former Army Commander, Anoma Fonseka, said that he was examined by a lung specialist today.
The government, which had to kneel down in Geneva, is now acting like thugs in villages by shutting down our diplomatic missions in other countries. By the government's actions, our country would be isolated in the world. The public should be aware of this.
Now, several politicians expressed their views on the UNHRC resolution on Sri Lanka.
Europe and the US are unhappy with this stable government. They're resorting to such actions to weaken the government. There are certain internal issues in India as their budget is coming up. If not, they are supportive of us. They had to vote in favor because of pressure from the US. After that, they have openly said that they support our government.
America pressure open Cuba support.
The Indian Prime Minister had written to our President and said that they made several amendments to the resolution. 2 words have been included as discussions and concurrently. At least if an amendment was made saying agreement reached, that would have been satisfactory. Now some are saying that in place of the turban, what rests on the head of Manmohan Singh is the American hat.
This is a moment where we should act with good sense. We cannot do this by just lashing out at other countries, neither can we do it by surrendering to them. This is a time we need to act intellectually. We must be careful when using our words.
ජිනීවාවල සම්මත වුණු යෝජනාව පිළිබඳව ආණ්ඩුවේ ස්ථාවරය දැන් විවිධාකාරයෙන් ප්‍රකාශ කරමින් තිබෙනවා.
Various factions are expressing different views regarding the government's stance on the Geneva resolution. So we are confused as to what the government's actual stance is. If they had followed the advice given by the opposition leader, the country wouldn't have to face such a situation today. Not only that, no reply was received to the letters sent by the opposition leader to the president. The government has hidden all the problems that exist in the country using the Geneva resolution like it used the war victory before that.
යටපත් කරලා ජිනීවා යෝජනාව පිළිබඳව ආණ්ඩුව කතා කරමින් තිබෙන්නේ. ජිනීවා ඡන්දේ දවස් දෙකකට ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඒ නෞක ගියා යාපනට.
I saw our ex-leader had gone to Jaffna 2 days before the Geneva vote. What did he say in Jaffna? He spoke regarding issues faced by residents of Jaffna, projecting it towards Geneva. I wish to ask UNP supporters, do you all support this? I saw what was said by certain factions in Geneva. They expressed sentiments similar to those expressed by the opposition leader.
Why are we being ill-treated? What is the international community saying? They say that the way we carried out the operation is wrong. So that means, have we got to fight terrorism the way the world wants? If we were to do that, we would have never been able to defeat terrorism. Sri Lankans are not prepared to stand, kneel down or stand on our head just because the world wants us to do so.
World leaders call for closer cooperation to tackle the threat of nuclear terrorism. Details coming up on Around the World in 99 seconds.
Still in local news, various parties expressed views on newspaper reports that Minister of Livestock Development and Rural Affairs Arumugam Thondaman has resigned from office.
Then Thondaman ametumage resignation කියන එක හෙට ඉර පායනවා වගේ කතාවක්. මම දැන් පාර්ලිමේන්තු මන්ත්‍රී හැටියට හරි මම කියනවා නම් හෙට ඉර පායනවා කියලා කිව්වොත්.
The story that Minister Thondaman has resigned is like the sun rising tomorrow. Whether or not Sri Ranga says that the sun will rise tomorrow, it will definitely happen. It is a known fact. In the same way, Thondaman will be at his ministry tomorrow. That will not change as well. He will be attending cabinet meetings as usual. He has no ownership of land or a house in the Nuwara district. He lives on state lands of the people. All his assets are in Tamil Nadu. He has a big house there. He has a big business there. We also saw how he and his good friend Karunanidhi and Kanimoli stayed with him at the Taj Samudra Hotel every time they came here. Now there is a force from which even they cannot escape. Now he wants to save his land, so he is saying that he is not with the government, that he is angry with the government, that he has resigned from the government. It is all over the Indian news. This was a planned action. The only way that Thondaman will leave this government is if there is a leadership change, if a different party comes into power. He has never been in the opposition for more than a year or two. That is because everyone in that party is chasing after resources. When opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe formed a government, he was there for 2 years as a minister. Even if a Hello Urume or JVP government comes in, he will be a cabinet minister. Now the people of Nuwara do not know the word parliamentarian, they only know him as minister. This is something that will never happen. This is a teledrama that is being enacted to save his property and assets in Tamil Nadu. Nevertheless, several Sri Lankan English, Sinhalese and Tamil language newspapers reported today that Minister of Livestock Development and Rural Affairs Arumugam Thondaman had resigned from his ministerial portfolio. Some reports said that he had submitted his resignation to the President. However, some newspapers quoted the Presidential Secretariat as saying that such a letter had not been received. When considering Arumugam Thondaman's history as a politician, there are numerous occasions on which he has resigned as a minister and changed his party allegiance. Thondaman, who contested and won a seat in Parliament in the 1994 general election as part of a UNP-led coalition, switched allegiance to the People's Alliance government in 2000 and held the portfolio of Minister of Estate Infrastructure and Livestock. In 2001, during the probationary government, he resigned from this portfolio. Subsequently, he held the position of Minister of Housing and Estate Infrastructure in the United National Front government, which came into power in December 2001. In 2004, he joined the United People's Freedom Alliance government and has been serving as a cabinet minister since then. Considering the newspaper reports, where will Arumugam Thondaman be in 2012?